Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released new AirPods firmware updates for AirPods Pro 2, both Lightning and USB-C, along with AirPods Pro 3. Now both of these have different firmware updates just like last time, but I thought we'd talk about what's new in this video. We'll also talk about how to check the version you're on, how to install the update, as well as sound quality and more. So if you want to jump to any specific thing, if you already know how to install the update for example, be sure to check out the chapters in the description below. Now the first thing is the overall firmware update. The prior firmware updates were 8B21 for AirPods Pro 2, and if we go into our settings, you'll see our AirPods menus here. We'll go into AirPods Pro 2, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see the new version is 8B28. So again, that's up from version 8B21, and if we go into it, you'll see that the case version matches as well, 8B28. If we take a look at AirPods Pro 3, same thing here. We'll open them up, make sure they're connected. Go into our menu here, scroll to the bottom. Again, you'll see the new firmware of 8B30 up from 8B25. If we go into this, currently the case version has not updated, and this is pretty typical. Sometimes it takes a little while for the case to sort of match it, but we'll give it a little while and see if it's updated by the end of the video. Now, as far as how to install the update, well, typically all I do is I'll open up my AirPods, place them in my ears, then listen to music, maybe for about 30 seconds or so, put them back in the case, close the case, and then lock the phone and walk away. This time around, they updated in about 10 minutes or so. You can also update them directly from a Mac. However, if this is not working for you, just repeat, maybe listening to music, and make sure that they're charged above 50%. That usually seems to help anytime you're updating. So they updated pretty quickly this time. Now, as far as what's new, well, first, if we take a look at Apple's release website where it says about firmware updates for AirPods, you'll see the latest versions we just confirmed here, 8B30 and 8B28. And if we scroll down to where it says release notes, well, it's typical Apple right now, bug fixes and other improvements. They're not telling us a whole lot as far as what's fixed, what they've improved with both 8B30 and 8B28. However, I've listened to music, I've checked out connectivity, and the first thing I noticed right away is the overall connectivity seems to be very, very fast. You may have already noticed that in this video. If I open these up, they connect very fast. If I go into settings, the menu is here. In prior updates, the menu would sometimes disappear. So this could be a combination of iOS 26.2 along with the new firmware update, but it seems like it's nice and fast as far as the connectivity, and that seems to be an improvement at least over the previous version. Also, there's no crackling as far as the overall sound quality. I didn't notice that at all. And the auto pause feature is working well for me. So if I'm listening to music, I'll place these in my ears here. Give it just a second. Let me put it in transparency mode. So we're in transparency. I'll play some music. If I take one out of my ear, it should stop playing right away. So if I place it back in my ear, again, it starts playing right away. I had a little bit of an issue with this before, and it seems like it's resolved. Also, device switching seems to be super fast. So if I bring in my iPad, so again, we'll go ahead and play music over here on the iPhone. We'll play. Then we'll go over to the iPad. We'll go into music here. Give it a second, press play, and it jumps right away. So if I go back over to this device, you'll see it switch. Again, if I go back over here, it switches immediately. This seems like it's improved quite a bit where it jumps right away, and I've had no issues since this update. So it's only been about an hour or so, but it seems much improved as far as device switching goes. Now, I know some people say that the overall hum or static noise is more of a hardware issue. However, I noticed that the hum that I talked about in the previous update has completely disappeared when you're in noise cancellation mode. So if I have noise cancellation turned on, I'm not playing any music or any audio whatsoever. There's no hum, there's no static whatsoever. There was a very low hum before. It seems like they've resolved that issue, at least on my AirPods Pro 3. One other thing I noticed with the iPad that I forgot to mention is when you're maybe going into a video. So if I place this in my ear, I'll place the other one again, get it to switch over. One other thing I noticed is if we go into the camera, for example, and then go into our camera control in the control center, it's no longer glitching on the iPad where it would sometimes show me gain, where you can control that with a microphone. However, you're not able to control that on AirPods. So sometimes when you go into AirPods, it would switch and you would see it glitch with a little gain level here. So that should only work with external microphones, not the AirPods. So it looks like they've resolved that as well. This update also most likely has to do with the Translate app, where live translation is rolling out to more countries, specifically the European Union. So again, you'll see we have Italian, and we had some of these language options before, but with iOS 26.2, you should be able to use them in the European Union now. So you could maybe switch it to Italian, switch it to English, or whatever language you'd like, and it should translate through the AirPods. I'm sure there's some improvements here, but they're not telling us what they are. So if you're in the European Union and you've been able to try this out, whether on the betas or the public version when you're watching this, I'd love to hear from you how it works for you. Now, maybe this is just a placebo effect, but the overall audio quality seems to be a bit improved for me. The mids seem to be bumped up just a little, and overall clarity is very nice. Now, again, it could just be placebo, but let me know what you think if you've listened to them after the update on the AirPods Pro 3. They seem to be nice and clear. I did not notice a difference on AirPods Pro 2, so I didn't notice any change there. Also, with the overall sound quality, I went back and forth between the AirPods Pro 2 and AirPods Pro 3. For me, the AirPods Pro 3 sound a little bit better with rock style music. However, rap and things sound very much the same, but with a little bit more bass on the AirPods Pro 3. So you may appreciate that if you're on AirPods Pro 3, but if you want more of a flat sound, you may like the AirPods Pro 2 better. When it comes to noise cancellation, I didn't notice a change at all. So connecting them to my iPhone, maybe they're in transparency mode. Again, as they are right now, I really don't notice a difference. No real issues with that. If I play music, of course, go into my settings, you'll see, of course, we have listening mode, transparency, and then we can change that to conversational awareness. And if maybe you're having issues with overall quality, one thing I would recommend as far as the noise cancellation is make sure you have conversational awareness off, as that typically can cause some issues as far as allowing noise to pass through. So make sure that's off when you're testing it. Overall quality seems to be quite good with any of those modes. As far as anything else, well, I've been fairly vocal about wanting an update button or more information from Apple as far as what's new. I would love to see just a button you press to let you know there's an update, just like you can with iOS. It tells you when there's an update. You can update and just update on your own terms and decide if you want to update, as some people really might like the sound profile they have and don't want any changes whatsoever. So again, I would like to see Apple do that. As far as iOS 26.2, well, hopefully it's out very soon. We expected it to be out already, but at the time of this video, so far it hasn't released, but hopefully we'll see it very soon. Maybe as soon as Monday. It could be Friday, but that's unlikely. But either way, many of us expected it on the 8th, but it may be next week. One other thing I wanted to mention is when I was using these with the Mac, I did notice one issue. For example, when I was editing with these, I would have them both in my ears, and then all of a sudden the right AirPod would cut out, but it would continue playing in the left ear. I put them back in the case, then closed it, reopened it, put them back in my ears, and it fixed the issue. Then, maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, all of a sudden the left AirPod cut out and continued audio in the right AirPod. So this is a bit of an issue. Hopefully it doesn't continue, but maybe that's because we need macOS updates as well. Now finally, let's go ahead and check and see if the case updated here. So if we go into our settings, AirPods Pro 3, we'll scroll down to the bottom again, and so far the case hasn't updated. So let me know if your case updated in the comments below. So let me know your experience with AirPods Pro. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below if you're experiencing the same thing, if you noticed any changes, or if connectivity was improved or anything else. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And of course, I'll keep you updated with iOS 26.2 and any other update that releases. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.